Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Thank you, Adam, for the super chat right out the gate. What's up, Daniel? I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm ready to go today. Friday. I hope everyone has a good Friday, an even better weekend. Yeah, man, we might as well get to the box. Let's just dive right into that game and miss the casualties. Um, when I'm looking at the Buccaneers, I actually was encouraged by their performance last night. Obviously, it's impossible to be encouraged by their defense, but you have to be encouraged by two things. They were actually able to block for Tom Brady last night, and they were actually able to get the ball down the field, which is something I haven't seen from them all year, except like the first week against Dallas a little bit. And then also, like, I don't know what's going on with that defense. And then we saw Shaq Barrett got hurt. So, like, for the Buccaneers as contenders, I don't think so. But either way, they're going to find a way to win that division. And then plus with that news today about Tom, I kind of, yeah, like I kind of feel bad for him. I think it's actually going to be better for him moving forward, being divorced. But I mean, I'm not a psychologist, so you guys might know better than me. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, dude, I definitely got the Diet Coke going on. Got it in my mug. Ready to go, man. Ready to go. What's up, Andrew? Yeah. We got some good games this week. What's up, Johnny Guns? What's up, Lawson? Really excited for this weekend. Lots of good spots I like. Cardinals, Commanders, Raiders, and Titans. Yeah, that like the one game I've been coming around to the Cardinals this week. Even against my Vikings, I wouldn't say I'm betting it, but that is one game where I'm starting to come around to. Especially like now that like, you know, the excitement of 5-1 worn off as a Vikings fan, and I'm thinking about Kirk Cousins going up against Cardinals blitz after Cardinals blitz. I am a little bit worried about that. Yeah, let's see. What's up, Ron Will? Yeah, the Cardinals one, I don't know if I would bet, but I try not to bet Vikings games. Daniel Boyko, I like the Raiders more. Yeah, the Raiders one is interesting. I actually do think the Saints play good this week. Like, I don't think the Saints are going to play bad like they did against the Cardinals. Like, I actually think we see a Saints response, but I think the Raiders are in an upward direction. I know the 2-4 record scares people away, but I do think the Raiders get things going, and I actually like where they're going. Like, listen, we had a big bet on the Raiders last week, and that -7, even though it looked easy after the fact, was anything but easy. But it just seems like the Raiders are getting better play by play, minute by minute, series by series as the year goes on. And like the Texans game was a little bit of a metaphor for that. Like an interesting thing I heard today. The Raiders have outscored their opponents by 14 points, and they're 2-4. The Titans have been outscored by 14 points, and they're 4-2. So I mean, sometimes got to take a deep breath. Okay, where was Adam saying who he's taking? I saw he liked the Broncos in London. Like, yeah, man, are you betting that? Because that would be bold. Yeah, I wasn't shocked that the Bucs lost that game. I was actually surprised to see them get plays down the field. I mean, that was the biggest surprise takeaway. They were actually able to get plays down the field. Their defense hasn't been stopping anyone. I think that's what I'm more concerned about from a Buccaneers perspective. Okay, what's up, Shannon Spicer? What's up, Isaac? Thoughts on the Bengals over 45? with Chase injury. I don't think it affects the over, but I do have to say, now that I got you guys here, I am a little bit nervous about the Bengals pick now. I'm still thinking about it and deliberating it in my head, but I am a little bit nervous about that Bengals pick at the minute with Jamar Chase out. I did assume he would be out for this game. And I do respect the Browns, but it does make you stop and think about it, especially with some of the stuff we've been seeing on primetime games. You want to know one thing that shocked me yesterday, though? So when I went to bed Wednesday night, the spreads for the Bucks game was Bucks plus 1.5, Bucks plus 1, maybe even Bucks plus 2 on a few bucks. And then when I wake up the next morning, it's Bucks minus 2. Line movement is part of the game, and it got some of you guys off the Chiefs last week. I don't understand why. I wasn't understanding anything last week. If you guys were here for the last Friday chat, some people were spurging out about the line movement. But I'll tell you what, that line movement on the Ravens-Bucks game was rather weird. I didn't mind Tom Brady being an underdog in that game, especially with how the Ravens have played this year. No, I did not place a super bet this year. Dude, like everyone was placing the Bills Super Bowl bet. And for me, I need to get really good odds to do that. Trust Faith, should we be betting against Atlanta, their favorite this week? I don't think so. I don't think so, but I think you should be betting the under in that game. I listen, you got to think that Panthers defense is going to show up. And when we look at the Panthers offense, they really struggle to throw the ball. They ran it good last week against the Buccaneers, but how much does that really mean? The Falcons have been a pretty decent run defense this year. And I can't see the Panthers going off. But yeah, dude. For me, man, I do think the Falcons cover that spread, but I would not bet the spread. I would bet the over-under. Super chat from Jeff Jabroni. You had me worried. Thought a rescue was in order. Yeah, dude, got the orange on today. Got the orange. I bought a pack of these Nike shirts. So, I mean, it's good, man, because it's hot here. So I gotta keep it flowing. Yeah, we got some questions about the World Cup. That is the future bet, because everything's fallen into place for Brazil. They're a good future bet, especially with some of the stuff that's going on with the other teams. Okay, let me get to the Patreon questions. Let me reload the page. Let's get to the Patreon questions. Hope everyone's having a good day. Feeling pretty good going into this weekend. And I appreciate all of you guys, because YouTube, they've been kind of hiding the gambling content. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but they've been kind of hiding us in the algorithm. So I appreciate all of you guys finding my videos, going through the extra rigmarole, because I know they're not getting shown up on the front page anymore like 4 weeks ago. I've been seeing a lot of articles recently. I don't know if it's about you, if it's just my algorithm on my phone and my computer, but I've been seeing a lot of articles lately about like the dangers of gambling. And they're showing a guy, he had like a 6-figure job and he lost his wife, he lost his kids, lost the dog, and they're doing those type of stories and stuff. I don't know if you guys been seeing that. Gennaro Gonzalez, do you like Denver teased up to 9? Yeah, it makes sense. I think that's a very close football game. And Jags have a good team. I do, especially now that it's sticking firm at -3. I was a little bit nervous about the hook, but I do like them still as a money pick. I do like the Bengals still as a money pick. Yeah, they've been okay. Yeah, dude, unfortunately, yeah, they've they've hit us in the algorithm, but it's happened before. And then it bounces back after like 2 or 3 weeks. It's just like my numbers are better than they've ever been in terms of people clicking on the video, liking the video, and whatnot. It's just they're not getting the impressions. So they're kind of like hiding our stuff. And I've been seeing like really weird stuff on my YouTube feed. It could be because I'm in Brazil, but I'm not sure. All right. Okay, here we go. Let's get to the Patreon questions. I put them up a little bit late today. Charles Kaiser, still on the bungles for Monday Night Football? Yes. Yes, I am. The fundamentals really don't change in this game. And this podcast, I know a lot of you guys have been here the full 3 years with me. We've won a ton of money betting Bengals. We won a ton of money betting in the Browns' favor to cover spreads. And it's been a fun ride, and I've enjoyed every single minute of it. Like our record last year, I went through the Patreon just to prove some of maybe my users' bias for the Browns. I went through it last year. We bet the Browns 8 times last year, and I'm not a high volume bettor. For those on Patreon, 4, 5, 6 at the most, but mostly 4 or 5 a week. We bet the Browns 8 times last year, and our record was 6-2 on Browns bets. And whenever you get a scalp like that, you don't forget about it, and you want to dip your hand back in the cookie jar. But I am really concerned about this Browns defense. And I am still deciding if I'm going to bet the Bengals because Jamar Chase is a dynamic player and wide receiver is the second most important position in this league. You might disagree with me. You can disagree with me because I love offensive line and defensive end play more than anyone. But after quarterback, an elite wide receiver for me is second most important position at the moment. And so I did take a pause for cause with that. But have you guys watched these Cleveland games? They haven't been stopping anyone. And the only time we bet the Browns this year, look at what happened against the Patriots. They weren't even competitive. They just simply were not competitive on the defensive side of the football. I think some of it's coaching issues. I know you guys are excited Denzel Ward's back this week. We saw Joe Flacco throw it over his head for 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes to lose to the Jets when he was out there and fully healthy week 2. It's just, I'm worried about this Browns defense before we even get to the offense. And if you guys got anything to prove me wrong about the defense, or if you guys are seeing any silver linings in it, I'm fair to listen. I want to be betting the Browns on the home end of this with Deshaun slinging that ball around and with Chubb having more space to run the rock. And even as I talk about their defense, I am concerned about their run game. Watson probably will solve that. But listen, he's going to come in really, really cold the first few weeks. Let's be realistic about it. Let's be fair to the guy. So our Browns gravy train ran out last year. At a certain point, you have to walk away with the 6-2 and be happy with it and understand that that is a borderline heist in this league. But yeah, I want to bet the Browns too, but I just can't with the state of this defense. I want to read the comments to see if anyone's seeing anything different, but I'm just not. RJ, it might be developing into a stay away game for me. I have to make that decision tonight. It might be developing because there's some other games I'm excited to take a chunk out of before that game. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. So is anyone saying anything different? Yeah. And like for me, has anyone seen just kind of like the Browns quitting in games? Lack of communication with Kevin Stefanski and Jacoby Brissett. Like Jacoby Brissett hasn't even played bad this year. He really hasn't. And they waste timeouts and the 2-minute drill looks sloppy. They're not running it like they were before. I mean, there's just a lot of problems. Is Petros, is Debo Samuel officially out? That was news I was waiting on to hear all day. Let me know if that's official. Yeah. Yeah. And there's and my man, like I understand it. But sharps are vulnerable to it too, because you were on Patreon last year and we hit so many Browns to cover spreads because people always doubt them. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of movement on that game. I do think it stays at -3, but I think we're going to see a lot of bets on that. Yeah, the Jets game was the perfect example of why you can't bet them. Like Joe Flacco slinging 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes. Like, yeah. So, all right, let's get to the next Patreon question. I appreciate everyone being on. I appreciate everyone being in the live chat. Ad Fioravanti. How do we buy a money t-shirt? They will be for sale. I will get them up in November. I just have to have an intermediate, a third party. I'll use that word. I have to have a third party mail them in the United States, but I have the design already. I will let you know early November. Also, add with your Patreon. Like I've tried to contact them. They do not understand how your problem. So add. Send me an email. If not, send me a message on Patreon tonight and let me get your email, because I think they're going to lock you out November 1st, even though you paid for the full year. I've been in contact with them. I sent email this week. We'll see what happens. But let me know. And you paid for it. So either way, I'll get you the picks either way. And I love having you on Patreon. Crew 60 says, Lawson, what's up, bro? What's up, Crew? Hope you're having a great Friday, my man. Thank you for always giving your straight up forecast. Can you give us some prop suggestions you like? I know you have to break down all these other picks, but I have some good tips where to lean. Keep on keeping on, brother. Yeah, I'm going to keep going with the props on Patreon. Last night we were 2-1 on the prop bets. Last Thursday night, we were 2-0 on the prop bets. I do have one I like. I haven't put it in yet. I like one I've been thinking about is Kyler Murray over under 25.5 completions. That Minnesota secondary is pretty rugged. They have a really bad slot cornerback, and you saw with the Cardinals last week, lots of short passes. They like throwing the ball. Vikings are pretty good against the run. I think he throws it a lot. That's what I'm considering. Another one I'm looking at is Dak Prescott over under 255.5 passing yards. I'm going under on that. On some books, it's even up to Dak over under like 270 when I was looking earlier today. Anyone, Johnny Guns, I know he's a Cowboys fan in the chat right now. Maybe I was seeing something different from him, but I didn't think Dak looked good last week. I didn't think he looked terrible last week against the Lions, but I also don't think he looked good. And I also think Kellen Moore has more maturity this year. It's just with the way he's going to call the games with Dak. They're not going to slang it 50, 60 times a game anymore. And that's a fucking good thing for the Cowboys. This offensive line looks a lot better, even though on paper they're not better, because the best way to help an offensive line is get those big fat guys moving forward, putting their weight on other men. And it's not a great pass blocking offensive line, in my opinion. And I think that game's going to be like late 80s, early 90s football. I do think it's going to be physical. And I do think the Bears are going to make a game of it. I did pick the Cowboys on the teaser, and I do think the Cowboys win. I don't think it's going to be another upset like I predicted with the Bears going in to Foxborough to beat the Patriots. I don't think we're going to see anything like that. But that's where I'm at. And a prop for Monday night. This one is kind of like hit or miss. I did have two kind of cheesy props that we did hit on Patreon last night. So the cheesy props do tend to hit. Nick Chubb, longest rush prop. I'm taking the over 19.5. I don't think Chubb's going to dog him for like 130, 140 yards, but I think he breaks one or two over 20 yards. So all he needs is his longest run to go 20 yards. That's one that is a little bit risky. Let me look into Monday night more. I will be betting props again for Monday night like we did on Thursday night and the Thursday night before. Mountain Thunder, $10 donation. Thank you. Tadora tip to you, my friend. I appreciate it. I got to read the comment section. Okay, Deebo Samuels is officially out. Thank you, brothers. Thank you, Petros. Thank you, Johnny. Yeah, Tom, I agree with what you're saying. Like the Browns offense, they actually haven't been that bad with Jacoby. But I don't know, man. And someone can throw out the stat, but is it just me, or has this Browns run game been a little bit? It hasn't been as great as it was last year, in my opinion. We've seen them run for damn near like 200 yards, multiple games last year. We haven't seen that type of production. Daniel Jones is going to win us a Super Bowl, sending $10. Dude, this guy is a prophet. He's had this username for 3 years. And Giants are sitting 6-1 right now. Okay, let me read this. This is going to be a good one. I try to tell my uncle to stay away from parlays, but he always does a total of 25, 30, 10 to 12 teamer parlays, betting $1 on each parlay. You can't make money that way, can you? What do you think, Lawson? No. Your instincts were right, and listen, let's break down the math on that. Let's break down the math on that. Parlay percentage calculator. Honestly, like I think he has a better chance at busting a good payday on a scratch off ticket. That's just it. The $1 scratch offs don't play good. But, you got to spend money to make money. But let's just do the parlay odds calculator. Okay. So let's go. It's just a 10-team parlay. What are the odds? Okay. Okay. How do we do that? Oh, they got a payout calculator. Oh, yeah. So that's what they don't want you to do. They don't want you to get the odds. But listen, he's got under 1% odds to hit a 10-teamer. Right? I mean, maybe he's going money line and maybe that brings his percentage up to 2-3%. Any math guys in here? But this is why I told you and why I did the parlay video earlier this year. Vegas makes 3% of its profit on people who single bet. That's really not a big profit margin. It really isn't. Who bet single game spreads, money line, those type of dudes, they make a 3% profit on. On people who bet parlays, that's where they make 35% of their profit. So that should tell you a lot. I mean, that should tell you everything. I don't think I need to get to the mathematical. It's a 0.087% chance Daniel Jones's uncle is going to hit that. I don't think I need to go that far, right? That's where I'm at. Player props video will be coming next week. I am officially doing a player props video because we're getting really good odds on them. And you can shop around because I use 4 sports books. Used to have 6, was banned from 2 of them, but at 1 they put a limit on me for the player props. If they find you're good early at player props, they'll throw like a $7, $10 limit on them. But props video coming next week. I think I might make the teaser video Patreon exclusive, but I'm still thinking about it. Okay, or 0.13% chance. Yeah, Cadfire, that sounds about right, man. That sounds about right. Hello. How you doing? How you doing? Okay, it's good. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's get to the Patreon questions. Since I saw Cadfire, I'm going to go down to his Patreon question because this is important. This is something I've been preparing for in the spare time. Lawson, I know this is an NFL show, but are you betting the World Cup? Yes. Any thoughts on futures? Will you post World Cup bets on Patreon? Dude, my favorite future for the World Cup to bet, I will be placing a bet on Brazil to win. I'm thinking about going hard because, like I said early in the show, everything has been kind of rolling in their direction, especially with what's happening with some of the other teams who are in the field. But one thing I love is picking teams to advance to the final 16. Like last World Cup, I had Senegal. I really like doing that because if you do the work, if you do the grunt work, if you bet 4 of them, you can go 3 out of 4. Rather easy. And I will be betting the World Cup. I love betting soccer. I love betting Asian handicap. I'm thinking about putting in a soccer bet this week. Libertadores final on Patreon. The odds aren't all that great, but that's not going to scare me away. And I will be posting the World Cup bets on Patreon. I appreciate your question because World Cup's coming up, and it's not as good as betting NFL, but for me, it's less stressful than betting NFL. If you understand what I'm saying, yeah, man, it's going to be fun. Okay, this is from P. Lawson, what's up, brother? You already know when we talked that I love this over 42 on the Rams San Fran game. Talk me out of it, or are you fucking with it? I like it. I had the over on the show. The only thing I can say to sway you from betting it is Deebo Samuel was out, but you obviously didn't know that before the comment since it's breaking news. But that would really be the only thing that would sway me away from it because I think we're going to see a response from the Rams offense. But let me tell you why I'm taking the 49ers in that game. The big reason why I'm taking the 49ers in that game is I think their defensive line is going to completely chew up the Rams offensive line. Note Bloom is out at left tackle for this Rams offensive line. And you could make an argument he's the best player they got on that offensive line. And I know the Rams are coming off a bye week, and we know McVay's going to coach them up and all that good stuff. But I've been, out of all the problems the Rams have had this year, I'm really concerned about the way this offensive line is getting beat up. And I'm not talking about Dallas beating them up. I'm not talking about Buffalo beating them up. They've been beat up in most of their games. And I haven't liked what I've seen from their run game. and they haven't really been giving Stafford a chance. And Allen Robinson has been kind of the flop we thought he would be. Like, we didn't get excited about Allen Robinson. But I do think San Fran gets to 24. I do think Shanahan finds a way to get them to 24. And I don't think the Rams are going to quit in that game. I think the Rams get to 20 somehow. I think they're going to scrap it and get it to 20. I see like a 24-20. It's going over. Not one I would bet. That's not the over-under I like this week. But I would go over, and I wouldn't change my pick. Kevin Shaplin, do you ever bet the money line for an underdog? No, not much. I wouldn't do it as competitively. Like, I wouldn't post it on Patreon if it's like a plus 700. Like, you heard me last week. I was yelling about the Bears all week. But I wouldn't have bet that money line, even though I was yelling about it all week, because at the end of the day, it is a low percentage. I have bet underdogs before. It's just I have to be feeling really good about a team. And when a team gets up, where people want to start taking chances on underdogs when they're like +7, +8, +9, when you get up into that territory, it gets a little bit dangerous. And that's where I prefer to just go with the spread. The Bull Mill. Hey, Lawson, let's get this money. I want to know how you feel about betting the Eagles first half spread -6.5 and the over for the Vikings-Cardinals game. I think the over 48.5 should hit for sure for both teams can score. So I was talking to J-Sep earlier today, and he told me on some books the Eagles game moved up to -7 in the first half. But if we're talking -6.5, I absolutely love it. I think I didn't mention that one on my video, but I absolutely love that one if it's at -6.5. The Eagles have been the best team in football for talking first half. They tend to get a lead, and then they take their foot off the gas pedal. But first half wise, the Eagles are a tour de force. And last time we talked about an Eagles first half game, it hit. I think it was against the Cardinals. Someone refresh my memory. Last time they did that, we talked about it. It hit. I don't think that is a bad train to ride. And as far as the over under for the Vikings Cardinals, I like it, but I do think the Cardinals have a good game on offense. I don't think that game should have moved up to +3.5. I don't think it should have. I felt like the odds makers maybe are getting a little bit too excited about the Vikings. They're more or less record and scoreboard watching the Vikings' actual performances on the football field. Like, listen, I'm a Vikings fan. I'm excited. It feels good to be 5-1. It feels good to have a chance to win a division, but I know the team's limitations. I know how bad the secondary is for the Vikings. And Cardinals defense, they're always sneaky decent. They're not sneaky good. They're sneaky decent and competitive. And one thing the Cardinals defense does a lot of is blitz. And Kirk Cousins sucks against the blitz. We know that. You know that. Everyone knows that. That's my only worry. Kirk Cousins completely just not being a dance partner for the Cardinals against the blitz. But I do think it goes over. I do think it goes over. Hit the like button, share the video, smash that like button for your boy. Let's get to Daniel says, let's make this money. We will, Dan. We will, Dan. RJ88, you still taking the Bengals with Jamar Chase out? Yeah, I would still go the Bengals if we're talking that game. Will I bet it is another thing. I'm going back and forth on it. I don't like betting primetime games, but that was one where I have to seriously consider it. Still thinking about it. Bets will be up tonight on Patreon. D Gully, my G, what do you think about New Orleans versus Las Vegas over 49 and the hook? I I I've been thinking, I can't even remember what I said on the over under video. Um for me, I think that game's gonna go over because I'm looking at a Raiders offense that's getting better possession by possession. They haven't been what we thought they would be, but they have been getting better. And with the Saints, we have to take out those two interceptions for touchdowns that Dalton threw and kind of look at that game in a calm, unemotional manner. The Saints offense, they're finally starting to move the ball. They moved it well against a pretty decent Bengals defense. They moved it well against a pretty decent Cardinals defense. And even though the Raiders have a hell of a pass rush, you can throw it against them. We know that, and it's been well documented in this league. So when I'm looking at this game, I do think it goes over. I do think the Saints defense is different. Something's up with them. They're not the same as they were last year. The Saints defense, they're one thing you know about the Saints defense, they're going to hit you in the mouth and they're going to cover you. They're not covering anyone, and they don't seem as physical as last year. And that's why I like the over in the game. I think the fundamentals say over, and maybe I'm the only one feeling the Raiders vibes. A lot of people said we were walking into a mousetrap last week when we had the Raiders -7 against the Texans. It looked that way for the first half. But obviously, the Raiders got a certain amount of firepower that can change and completely flip games on their head. I like the way the Raiders are developing as a team. That's why I like the over. One thing that worries me is the Saints' run game. It seems like if Taysom Hill can't break a big run, then they can't run it consistently. Kamara seems to be healthy, so they should be able to run that rock a little bit better. I like the over. Here we go. Custom made 81. Loving Jacksonville -2.5 right now. Does Denver D raise any concern for you? It raises a huge concern. It raises an enormous concern for me. And Jacksonville has been a team. We've only bet them one time this year, and we made money betting them. But they've been maybe one of the most disappointing teams in this league. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of talk about it, right? No one's really saying, damn, those damn Jags, because we got Aaron Rodgers, we got Tom Brady, we got the cornball Russell America Wilson to talk about. We got a lot of teams who aren't living up to potential this year. But from watching film this year, the most frustrating team for me to watch has been this Jacksonville Jaguars. I still think they win and cover, but we know this Broncos defense is good enough to win it on their own. But let's get to the psychological part of this game. Does this Denver defense have much fight left in them? I mean, there hasn't been too many defenses that have been on the field longer than them and put up more fight and grit than the Broncos defense this year. Am I wrong? I mean, they've been absolutely spectacular this year, but there's only so much you can do. There's only so much Pat Surtain can do. There's only so much Browning can do. And I liked Jacksonville getting Etienne involved in the run game last week. It really brought a different type of spark and energy to this Jags offense. So I think Jags might be able to run it here. And I think that gives them the edge in this game. Because when I'm looking at this Broncos offense, they can't throw it. They can't run it. They can't protect the football. They don't play good special teams. And this is the type of game that might be decided by special teams. I know the Broncos have a better kicker than the Jags, But I'm worried about the other aspects of special teams from the Broncos. A fumbled punt. Are they going to be able to deal with that field surface in England? It is a little bit different. I don't like the NFL games being there, but I'm not here to go on my soapbox and complain. So I do like the Jags. I just don't think this is a game we can bet out of respect for the Broncos defense. And the motivation factor in this game can go one of two ways. I really think we're going to see a drastic shift in either direction. The players have given up on Nathaniel Hackett, and they just want him out. I think if Hackett loses this game, he's fired. Or the players are going to grit down and fight for him like a la the Bears did earlier in the year last year for Matt Nagy. Or they're not. And we've seen teams quit on coaches before. It's not the craziest thing in the world. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. We're getting through the Patreon questions now. I just want to go to YouTube, see what people are saying about that game. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm way behind in the chat. Yeah, a lot of you guys are talking about Jets, Giants. I do think the Jets are the more likely team to collapse. I absolutely love the Patriots this week. And I'm not a big Patriots guy. I'm really not. I think they get overhyped every single year because of the hoodie Bill Belichick. Texans, I don't know, man. Like that Texans defense, they can't rush the passer. And when I'm looking at that game, it just seems like Henry going forward, and that's one game where I really like the under. I think the over-under for Texans is over-under 41. I really like the under for that. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. Let's get to another Patreon question. Just had to regroup there. Mikhail, silly, crazy man destroys computer. No, but for real, can you go into a little of where the Patriots will find success against the Jets? Yeah, I wasn't playing around. Like I actually in the upset video lifted up a cord and then it simultaneously lifted up my computer and then but everything's good. Computer's working good, thank God. I think the Patriots are going to find it on the defensive side of the football. I think one thing people are conveniently forgetting is the film of Zach Wilson. When I look at Zach Wilson, I look at a bottom 5 quarterback in this league. I look at an offense that needs to run the ball. And one of the better offensive linemen in the whole league this year has been Elijah Vera Tucker. He's not going to be out there. One of the best running backs this year has been Breece Hall. He's not going to be out of there. And I'm sick of people acting like James Robinson is equal to Breece Hall or that he was equal to Travis Etienne. He's a below average back in this league who's going to give you the 3-4 yards, but he doesn't have any pop to make the big runs. The difference in that Jets-Broncos game last week was a pulling Elijah Tucker and Breece Hall hitting the hole going for damn near 50. That was the difference in the game, and that's what you're losing. It was a phenomenal play on that play by both of those players, and they're not going to be there. And you can't live in last week with the Patriots. I'm not living in fucking last week. I told you the Bears would win that game last week. I told you. At the very worst, I told you they would cover that. And I was yelling it all week, taking fucking criticism online, acting like I don't know football. Acting like I don't know football because I didn't want to lay 9.5, 10 points for our team. I didn't mind taking the Bears last week. I don't like the Patriots. I don't think the Patriots are a good team. But I think the Patriots are going to play good defense. And the Jets really don't use Zach Wilson's mobility like, for instance, the Bears used Fields' mobility on Monday night. And can you imagine what it's going to be like in those practices in Foxborough? I'm not trying to do the Bill Belichick mystique, the hoodie mystique, but let me tell you something. I think the Patriots, they got to focus solely on one thing this game. Stop the run of the Jets. If they stop the Jets' run game, they win the game. And I wasn't screaming at you, Mikhail. I was screaming at the guy in the chat acting like it's some sort of crazy proposition to take the Patriots against the Jets. People in the chat are out of their mind for thinking the Patriots will win a game against the New York Jets. If anyone's seeing anything different from Zach Wilson, please come correct me. But I certainly haven't seen too much out of the kid. And I told you guys going into this season, this kid's a bust. He's not good at football. I mean, he looks the part. But, sometimes looking the part isn't good enough. You actually have to go do it. It's not a movie. He's not being cast to play a 17-year-old Californian quarterback in a movie or playing a TV series with the suave, good-looking blonde guy as quarterback. It's not a damn movie. He has to go out there and play good. He doesn't play good. He was absolutely mortifyingly bad against the Green Bay Packers, and no one wanted to talk about it. No one. I turned on NFL Network, watched a little bit of Skip and Shannon. No one wanted to talk about it. And I seriously think I was the only one talking about it. That's why sometimes I start feeling crazy. How do you watch that Green Bay and Jets game and not see the deficiencies of Zach Wilson? And, everyone likes easy targets. Justin Fields is an easy target to punch down towards. But, Zach Wilson's got way better wide receivers than him. And everyone wanted to say Justin Fields is absolute trash. Although I've seen more good signs out of Justin Fields than I've seen out of Zach Wilson. Even if we take out Fields' film against the Patriots. You understand what I'm saying? And I am a little bit worried about the Patriots quarterback situation. But I have to eat a little bit of crow because the organization and the play calling on the Patriots offense has been better than I thought it would be. It really has. The play calling's been good this year. Yeah, Zach and Fields both suck, yeah. Although I actually think Fields could win games in this league. New York is 12-0 in the last 12 against the Jets. Now I think the Patriots are going to lose. I don't like trends like that. On this page, we break trends. But yeah, man, the trends don't matter for me betting a game. I'm betting who I think is going to win battles on the field that particular Sunday. For instance, people saying Shanahan owning McVay has very little to do with my analysis for this game. Last year in the playoffs, we had the Rams. Rams won. Public really liked the 49ers because of that trend. This year, man, give me the 49ers against the Rams in this first matchup. Okay, let's get to the next Patreon question. Brian DePaul says, thanks, brother. Another great year. Really enjoying the service and your entertainment. I thank you, Brian, for subscribing on Patreon. I appreciate all of you guys. I really liked Atlanta this week. Jumped in early at thinking it would jump up, dive down to -4 now. How are you feeling about the game now? Why the line adjustment? The line adjustment is because the Falcons struggle against the Bengals and people thinking the Panthers have life. Here's my thoughts on that game. The -6 is a worrying number, but I think the Falcons can win that game. And I think the Panthers, I don't think they're going to be able to generate more than 10 to 13 points. They're not going to get good quarterback play, and they're not the type of team to sling it over the park. And one thing you can say about the Falcons is they have good coaching. They got a good defensive coordinator, even though what happened against the Bengals last week was absolutely mortifying. But they run the ball really good, and the Panthers have a great defense. That's the only reason why I worry about the Falcons covering. But Falcons will win the game, and Falcons should probably cover that spread. But my main vision for the Falcons covering is this Carolina quarterback situation. I mean, they had 2 games where they didn't even throw a ball in the air longer than 3 yards. I don't think they're the team to go in and expose Atlanta's hurt secondary. I haven't seen news if AJ Terrell's going to play or not. I assume he's not. But the Falcons are kind of they're in a different situation than they thought. I mean, they're going to be playing for the playoff lives. I think they come out there and play a great game. So give me Falcons, man. Fredo, is the Hawks versus G-Man a trap game? I think the wrong team is favored here. Am I missing something? This game just looks like free money. Maybe too good to be true. They're just giving Seattle points for home field advantage. For me, when I was picking this line, I thought it would be Giants like -1.5 or Giants -1, to be completely honest with you. And I picked the Giants last week against the Jags, but it didn't mean I thought like the Giants were that much better than the Jags. Giants just make winning football plays at winning times of games. And so let me try to think about this. I don't think it does seem like a trap, but I don't think it is. But I do think the Giants are running on a little bit of luck here. Seattle's performances have been a little bit more concrete. Now, how can I explain that? I think Seattle's offense, they're not doing anything special. They're using lots of 2-3 tight end sets, and they're running it down your throat with Kenneth Walker. That's what they're doing, and there's nothing sophisticated about it. Now, I believe Metcalf will be out. Live chat, correct me if I'm wrong. And the Giants, they like attacking teams. They like teams that get spread out, get in the shotgun with 3 receivers, and they like blitzing from the outside. I wonder how this Giants team is going to react against a team that wants to pound them. Even with that being said, I think the Giants win this game. I think they win it by 1 or 2 points. I think they win it by a field goal late. And I do think the Seattle defense, even though they played good these last 2-3 weeks. Let's give them some credit where it's due. I do think the Seattle defense has some issues, especially on the defensive line. I think the Giants get their run game going this game. And Giants really didn't get Saquon going at all. Daniel Jones was killing the Jags with the read option. But if we're talking Saquon Barkley and traditional run plays, Giants didn't run it good last week against the Jags. I think they bounced back against the Hawks in the run game. The Hound. What's up, brother? What were your thoughts after the Bucs-Raven game last night? Bucs run game is non-existent. It is, and they won't go away from it. And that's one reason why I said you can't bet that game, because we actually did see a Bucs response. They actually did play better than they did the last 3 weeks. If they would have put out that effort against the Panthers, they would have beat the Panthers. Just an example. But that's what I was saying all year about the Bucs. They can't. I love Lenny Fournette, but they have to work in more Rachaad White. They have to spread out the field more, and they can't run it up the middle on first down. They're getting like 2 or 3 inches every single time they run it up the middle. It is a real issue with this team, and it's something they can't seem to get away from. I mean, we saw signs last night that maybe they could run it. And you saw what Brady did once he got some play action. He was able to work that thing down the field to Godwin. But that's the main issue for the team, in my opinion. They just can't run it. And the Bucs had everything go in their favor to win that game last night. And to see that defense completely fold up like a lawn chair last night was very, very surprising, especially with how they started that game. I do think the Bucs win that division. I don't think the Bucs are going to quit this year. But if Atlanta wins this week, Bucs, they're going to have some work to do, man. And I'm not putting the fork in them by any means, but the Bucs play a good football team, which they got some good football teams coming up. I can't see them winning unless they bring in another offensive lineman. They're really missing Jansen. You know, the red-haired center tore ACL in training camp. I mean, they're really missing him. That run game looks absolutely terrible. Okay. Leo Bellera. Law Money, what's up? What's up, Leo? A lot of talk about how good the Jets are. Do you think this is a trap game for the Patriots? No, I don't. I think it's a get-right game for the Patriots. I think it's a borderline must-win game for the Patriots. I think this is a reputation-type game for the Patriots. Listen, I got to give the Jets credit this year. But I do think we're going to see a Jets collapse. And this is the first time in a decade since the Jets have been decent. So their fans have been very, very active on the internet. I'm fine with that. It's all in good fun. But the Jets and Zach Wilson, I'm not seeing development out of him. That's my main rationale going Patriots here. I think Patriots use bare fronts, 8 men in the box, no Breece Hall, no Elijah Vera Tucker, and I think the Patriots win this game with physicality. That's where I'm going. Robert Filage, for me, it's just important to conform or cancel your pick on the Tennessee Titans. It went from -1.5 to 2.5, and I'm afraid it could go to -3 on Sunday. Rob, I'm still going with the Titans. I haven't seen the injury report news about Tanny yet, but I'm still going with the Titans. Let me see it. Let's see what's going on with Tanny. Got the injury report up right here. It looks like he's going to play. So I'm still going Titans. I'm not backing off of that one. Even though I like the Texans, I think the Texans are much better than they were last year. I would go Titans there. I think the Texans have a hard time stopping the run. Look at how the Bears run the ball against the Texans. There's been other teams to run it completely down their throats as well. And the Titans, Tannehill had last week when we picked the Titans, Tanny had 120 passing yards last week. It doesn't take much for the Titans to win a game. And for that, also when we're talking about the Texans-Titans game, I look at that Titans defense. The front seven is absolutely heinous and good, but you can really attack that back end of the Titans defense. We know that. We know you can throw it against them, especially for explosive plays. But the Texans are a team. They rely on the run game. They rely on running it up the middle. They rely on the rookie Pierce. And Dougie Mills just isn't the guy to get it down the field. I just can't see the Texans getting the explosive plays down the field. And once Dougie Mills has to throw, you saw what happened against the Raiders last week. In like the first half, they were able to run it against the Raiders a little bit. They got the run game going. The offense had rhythm. But once the Raiders just said, listen, bro, you got to throw it. Once the Raiders took the lead, you saw what happened when he had to throw it, and it was absolutely terrible. Here we go. Yeah, I listen. I want to be positive about the Texans. We only bet them once this year, and it was a push. Because once Dougie Mills had to throw, he gets the ball with a chance to win the game, tie game. He throws an interception against the Bears, one of the worst interceptions you're going to ever see. And the Bears kick the field goal. We get pushed out of it. That was a really hard push to take. I mean, that was a really great weekend. I think that was a 4-1 week, but man, that push stung. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, they should have traded Brandon Cooks from now on. What are the Packers doing? What are the Packers doing? I mean, that's one thing that is really disappointing me. Like, I know everyone wants to throw rocks at Aaron the Game Rodgers, and that's fine. But when are they going to get the man a receiver? When are they going to just slang big money at Odell Beckham out of desperation? When are they going to trade for Brandon Cooks out of desperation? Because this is about as ugly as it gets. Like, did you guys see Romeo Doubs against the Commanders? Like, I saw like 3 or 4 perfectly thrown balls clank off his hands. Sammy Watkins is healthy at least, so maybe that will work in their favor. Yeah, maybe they're calling him. Okay, let's get to the next Patreon question. Okay, one second. Let me just get my email open. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, one second. Sorry for the silence. Okay. Thank you, Daniel Ramos, for joining on Patreon. Really appreciate it, my guy. Derek, love your content and passion for the game. Keep doing your thing, brother. Anything you don't like on the 7-point teaser? Dallas -3. I like it. Miami +3.5. Oh, okay. I don't like that. That is a little bit risky. Philly -3.5. I like it. Buffalo -4. I like it. Cincinnati +4. I like it. Yeah, I like it. It's just when you go the other way, especially with some of the crazy shit we've seen go down in the NFL this year, I get a little bit cautious. Like, going the other way in that Cincy game to a +4 makes sense for me. For the Dolphins, it doesn't make that much sense. Because if the Dolphins play good, I think they'll win either way. But if they play bad, Detroit could put points up on them. I know Detroit's at a really low place right now, but with teasers, I'm scared of anything and everything happening. But I like it. Miami +3.5 should be stable for you. I just get really nervous on the teasers because they always come down. If you pick 5, one of those teams won't show up. That's why I get scared about them. Ace Rely Magic Entertainment. Can you share your favorite over/under pick of the week? Right now, I'm leaning Raiders Saints over. I like the Raiders Saints over. It makes a lot of sense to me. Saints offense is starting to play better. Raiders offense is starting to get better. The Saints defense just can't seem to find any rhythm. I think Lattimore is going to be back this week, but even if he comes back, the Saints aren't getting the same pass rush they were before. So with both of those offenses getting better the last 2-3 weeks, I like it. And the Saints offense has actually gotten better, even with the 2 pick sixes against the Cardinals. They were actually able to move the ball against the Bengals and the Cardinals, which we couldn't say earlier in the year. As for my favorite over-under pick, I'll give you 2 I like. I like the Titans, Texans under 40. I believe it's under 41. I like the under in that. And then another one I like is Falcons, Panthers over under 41.5. I like the under in that. Daniel says, hey, Lawson, what you think? I'm betting separate and have a plus 1,084 parlay money line on all. Raiders, I like it. Falcons, I like it. Jags and Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are a good reach, but I wouldn't say they win that game. I know some of the live chat was really liking the Cardinals in that situation. And the Jags, I think the Jags win it, but the Jags games, there's been a reason why we've been laying off of them. But I do think the Raiders, Falcons take care of business for sure. Jags should take care of business. Cardinals is what's going to take your payout up. I do think my Vikings are an upset watch. I came to that conclusion Thursday night. Once I looked at some of the Cardinals films, just their defensive football, and I do think they're going to give my Vikings a little bit of problems. Andrew, non-football question. What kind of chain is the all-silver one you have? It looks like a Cuban. It's the one you have on now. Yes, it's a Cuban link chain. So this is the type of chain I use. I've been liking Cuban chains for about 10 years because I used to live down near Miami, and that's when I got really into them. So yeah, it's a Cuban link chain. They're getting popular now. I've seen some people with like the biggest Cuban link chains like ever recently. I don't know if they're real or they're fake or what's going on with that. But yeah, man, they look really good and they add a different spice to life. Really, the only people using Cuban link chains right now are like rappers and football players. But I mean, it's growing by the second. I mean, I started using Cubans like 4 or 5 years ago. But now they're getting in. Now they're getting into like vogue, like so. Okay, here we go. Let me reload the Patreon questions. Here we go. Okay, let's get to it. Johnny Gonzalez might be able to come on the show today. I'm off work early. Send me an email. Send me an email, my man. I'd love to get you on. Because we're going to get through the Patreon questions, then we're going to get you guys on. Moneyline Repo. Lawson, what's up, fan? You got the Lions to cover plus 7.5 for big money. I do like that. I don't know if you need to take those points. I don't know if you need to tease it up like that. I like that one. I like this 49ers with the minus 1.5, to be completely honest. Okay, Celebrity Neil says he's betting Pats minus 2.5. Yeah, I've been looking to fade them for a while. Tim Morales, thoughts on Cowboys, Bears, Fields fluke last week. I like the under. I actually like the under on that as well. I think let's see what it is, because that was a game I had some doubts on. Here we go. 42.5. That I like the under, but that's not one I would bet, because even though the Bears offense isn't too good, actually I like the under. It makes sense to me, man. It makes sense. And because I don't think Dak's going to have a big game, and this Dallas defense is one of the best in the league, if not best in the league. Even after us winning money with the Chiefs against the 49ers last week. I still believe in that 49ers defense, but 49ers, Dallas defense, Broncos defense, those units really make a difference in games. And that's why I like the under. I actually haven't thought about that game much this week up until today. So I appreciate you guys. You guys always ask the good questions. The Hound says Jets train gets derailed this weekend. All right, we're through the Patreon questions. I'm going to get a glass of water. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Send me an email. I'm going to write my email. RJ, I like this one. This is a player prop I liked, and I forgot to mention it earlier in the show. Jefferson over 5.5 receptions. I actually think they use him like, remember when we hit D-Hop 2 Thursdays ago on Patreon for the over 5.5? I love Justin Jefferson over the 5.5 this week against the Cardinals. I'll be right back. Just going to get some water. We're going to get guests on. Send me an email at lalawson21@gmail.com. I'm going to put it in the chat if you want to come on. And thank you to all the Patreon users. Thank you to all the YouTube users. You guys are awesome. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'll get some intermission music going. I agree with you. Let me see if I missed any Patreon questions. Let's get it. Yeah, I appreciate everyone hitting the like button. Doing good tonight. Thanks. I didn't see your reply on YouTube. Okay, here we go. Names been used. Brother Lawson, can we do more player props this week? Yes. I will be posting some. I mentioned some I liked at the beginning of the show. They weren't official bets, but they were some that stuck out to me. We will be betting player props this weekend on Patreon, but I will be posting them Saturday. Bets will be out Friday night. Player props will be out Saturday because the player props, the lines sometimes are way different on different books. Like some people wigged out last night because when I posted the player props, they were completely different numbers on their books. There's not much I can do about it. They're very volatile. and sports books get nervous about player props because I feel like that's something we can hit. There will be at least 3 or 4 player prop plays this weekend, but always be careful with them. I mean, we've been hot. We're 4-1 in our last 5 player props, and we've been scorching El Fuego in them. But they are dangerous because there's a lot of variables, and you guys know I post them when I bet player props. They're very, very weird player props. Like how we got that Alton under last night, or the backup running back for the Buccaneers over 19.5 receiving yards. We should have hit that Chris Godwin over 6.5 catches. Brady just froze him out the last quarter. Don't know what was going on there. Little Dakota, what about the Seahawks? They're also favorite. Should we be fading them? Yeah. Listen, I love what Pete Carroll's doing. I absolutely love what Pete Carroll's doing, but I do think we should fade them. I don't think it would be a mistake to completely fade the Seattle Seahawks. So I think I'm going to be fading them as the year goes on. And I'm not as crazy about the Giants, though. I think there's other teams we can fade them with. Like the next time they play the 49ers, that might be a good opportunity to fade them. Hell, even the next time they play the Cardinals. That Cardinals game, Cardinals really should have beaten that game. But, there's no excuses in football. Tim, I can't trust Geno Smith either. What's up, Jarrett Hart? It looks terrible right now, but Bucs win the division, make the playoffs, and get healthy. I do think they win the division. Like, actually, the Bucs have been so bad, Jarrett. Last night was encouraging. Honestly, to be able to see Tom Brady stand in the pocket more than 3 seconds on a few plays was encouraging. You understand what I'm saying? Because he's gotten the ball. He's had like the lowest average time to throw this year in the NFL. I was surprised by that stat. Maybe it's a little bit skewed because he gets rid of it so damn fast. But I was surprised about that. And we actually saw the Bucs get an aerial 20, 30, 50 yards down the field. So I was a little bit encouraged by it. The defense, though, man, that was worrying. That was some worrying stuff, my God. And having Todd Bowles out there, it looks like the Jets teams from when Todd was the head coach. Like, I actually felt like Todd being made head coach would have some sort of positive splash. Like, I didn't think it would make the team better by any means, but I didn't think it would have a negative effect. I felt like it was Leftwich and Brady running the offense, and then Todd just does the defense, and, it kind of stays what it was without Bruce Arians getting in the way. Yeah, we got Juicy like Seattle at home. Okay, this is kind of interesting because no one talks about this. I like Seattle at home. If you're betting Giants, I just not bet the game. Hawks are some of the best at home in the NFL, and East teams traveling west struggle more than vice versa. And like, yo, bro, because like everyone always talks about west to east. It's tough, bro. Like, no one ever talks about going out to Seattle. Like, I've seen a ton of teams fade and put up sub-caliber performances out west. Like, so I kind of like that insight. Here we go. Fresh, yo, what's up, Adam? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, man? How you been?
I'm doing great. Just so you know, I'm going to get you on and then Johnny Gonzalez on. So what have you been up to, man?
Man, I was sick, so I got better, and then the ex-wife out of nowhere said, "I don't want to take care of your kid. Come and pick him up." So now my oldest son lives with me. So I might not come to Brazil as quick as I wanted to, man.
Well, yeah, man, that's good, and like, you got to make sure you document all of this. Like, you know more about this than me, but just make sure you document all of this, and Not saying it will make a difference because, like, obviously this justice system gives very little justice, but just document everything.
Anyhow, forget about all the problems, man. Let's make some money this Sunday. We're on top of things, man. I'm ex-military. Ain't nobody playing me, man. So.
Yeah, man. So what? I mean, you've been hot this year. Every time you come on the show, you always come with one big game you want to put your whole load on. So what is it?
Listen, I love your Patriots pick, okay? And there's so many reasons to love it. And I'm probably going to be betting it. I don't know if that's going to be the biggest load of the bet. It just, the Jets are on fire. I don't know if it's their lucky, that's their time to be lucky. Is it, are they that good? I don't know. I just do believe they are due for a loss. The Patriots match up with them better. And Belichick is not to be underestimated. That's just my 2 cents. My game, folks, if I had to pick one game, and I am going to be playing it probably the highest, is the Raiders to win. I think the Raiders are going on a winning streak. I'm not a Raiders fan. I'm a football fan. And I think the Raiders, as you mentioned, their record, do not judge this team by their record. I think this is a team that could have been 5-2. So,
no, I like the Raiders too. And there's a lot. And like, listen, I've been saying this all week. Saints are going to play a good game on Sunday. I'm not even saying the Saints are going to play bad. I just think, like you said, the Raiders are catching heat. Bye week came early and they needed it. They needed it to get organized. And like I've been saying, I just feel like the Raiders are getting better possession by possession. And, when we were like pretty much the only people who had the Chiefs last week, everyone was saying, oh, the Sharps are on the 49ers. Like whatever the fuck that even means at this point. So one thing, and the Raiders' performance against the Chiefs, man, I felt like that was the turning point of the season. And you should see how they're getting better every single possession. And yes, you're going to have to sweat this game out. It's going to be it's not going to be ugly like your Pat Steelers bet, but you're going to have to sweat this one out. If you don't want to sweat this game, don't bet it. But I think the Raiders win late, man.
Yeah, I took a L yesterday, man. I took Tampa Bay. I just looked at that game. I said Tom Brady losing 3 in a row was just not ideal for me. He's at home. I thought this would be the best time to make a statement. But as a man who's been through turbulence, you can see in his energy, the guy is hurt, and he's trying to not show it. The guy's in pain, man. And his team has no chemistry. These guys had no chemistry yesterday. The way the ball was thrown, the defense just sucked. But one more question, Lawson. What's your average bet? And if you had to bet the most tomorrow, is it the Patriots?
If I had to bet the most tomorrow, it's the Patriots. And my average bet is like $400 at this point. So
I thought you're like a Brazilian gangster. You only deal with thousands, man.
No, well, it's thousands over here, but you have to be very careful with it because you can get buzzsawed. You can get buzzsawed and go 3-1 and get buzzsawed. And no one wants that week. So I just do like 400, 500. Although I do think there's a game coming up next week that I will be moving on.
Listen,
pretty bad.
Do not have me play in the background. Queens, we will rock you. The whole entire Patreon community that follows you is waiting for you to say, this is college fund money. And trust me, we're all going in with you. Win-win, lose-lose. Let's go.
Yeah. And I'm ready for it, dude, because honestly, man, with how crazy this year has been, I just feel good to be above 500. But like, dude, we got to do more. And I'm starting to fucking feel the pressure. I'm starting to like, dude, I'm always a very happy person, but I'm starting to fucking wake up a little bit pissed off of the 2-2 weekends. Like, Yeah, dude, we're going in, and there's one game next week I'm looking at, and it's a perfect situation. I don't want to give it out. I want to make sure the Patreon users get on it first, but there's one game next week. Pats was pretty close, man. Although, there's always shit with
So
them. Like, can they get a quarterback? Are we gonna? What's Hoodie doing with the quarterback situation? Like, why is he making me nervous? Like, anyways.
There's been a lot of games I've been nervous. I love. Listen, if I have a winning day, if I have a winning afternoon Sunday, excuse my language. I'm fucking doubling down on that Packers plus 11.
Yeah, because people wanted us to talk about this game, but yeah, like, so what? Why you like the Packers? Because I'm worried about them, man. Like, I think they cover, but I'm worried about them.
Plus 11 for a team that should be in the playoffs. You're giving them 11 points with a top tier quarterback. I don't know. You give me a good line in your YouTube channels. There's really nothing here special. There's no formula. Like, can we just take 11 and fucking move on?
Yeah, no. And I mean, the Bears game was a lesson. Because the only guy who I've ever known who's been a professional gambler, he bets every single game that has over like 9 points. And people are acting like I didn't know anything about fucking football because I had the Bears plus 9.5 against the Patriots. Like, dude, the points matter in this league.
For those who like parlays, I wanna share a story that happened to me Thursday night football where a parlay screwed me over. I took the Bears plus 8.5, and I parlayed it where, what Patriots was minus 2.5. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Where the Patriots would have to win by 3, but the Bears can't lose by 9. I parlayed that bet, and it was just waste of time and waste of money. Why not just take the Bears? What am I doing?
Yeah, the parlays, man. Like,
it's like trying to set a date with a girl in the afternoon and a girl would date at night. Eventually, you're gonna get caught. Like, let's just focus on one.
Yeah, I got you.
And,
yeah, man. So any other games you're targeting this weekend?
The Raiders, Arizona, and the Patriots. And if I have a winning afternoon, I'm gonna be singing some Wisconsin and Kansas City. No.
All right. Yeah. All right, man. Have a great weekend. Thank you for coming on. Like the Jordan shirt, by the way.
I appreciate it. We need to get you some Jordan t-shirt over there, because we need you. Listen, we need a goat like you where we can just make so much money, get married, and move to Brazil. That's like a man's dream, man. Shit.
Yeah. And it pays off, man, because I live in a really good place. Like I said, like, it has serious issues here. But like I said, I live in a really good neighborhood. Everything's calm, and so it's good, man. It's good.
Sounds good, Lawson. We'll stay in touch, man.
All right, have a good one, man. Let me know when you get down here.
I will. Have a good one.
You too, man. And so I actually went to a McDonald's today for lunch. So my wife was driving me, and you know how, so like it's on like a busy avenue, like this is a big city with tons of cars. So we were driving in, like the traffic is bad. And in Brazil, like there's only like one-way streets. So everything takes a little bit longer. Johnny Gonzalez, I sent your link. So everything takes a little bit longer. So finally we see like the entrance sign. So we enter. We wanted to eat inside. We didn't want to use the drive-through. Anyways, so we enter, and then we're trying to go to the parking lot. They got it fucking like cemented off, so you have to stay in the drive-through lane. So anyways, we had to wait, leave it again, and then enter a completely another place to park. Took like 20 minutes. So yeah, that sucks. But yeah, like Johnny Gonzalez, I sent the link. Michael Mann, let me know if you want to come on, man, if you have time. All right, I want to get to the YouTube questions. For sure, Tim. For sure. That Steelers Bills game, like Steelers weren't even competitive. That's going to happen, but I understand the rationale for taking the big point spreads. Um, let me see. Tawancha Ray on Patreon. What do you think about Philly on the second quarter spread? They set the record this year, outscoring their opponents. No line for second quarter yet, but might be juice. Makes sense. Makes sense. I haven't thought about the second quarter, but Philly in the first half makes sense. And I'm not seeing why they wouldn't win the second quarter. If they get up 14-0 in the first quarter, you're going to be in trouble. But I actually think they have a better second quarter than first quarter because we know Tomlin's going to come out and he's going to be competitive. You need to eat healthy, chicken and rice. Yes, I agree because that McDonald's really bogged me down. It was hard to go out for a walk today, like because I have to walk my dog every day. It was hard to go out and walk my dog today after eating that stuff. Johnny, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in a while.
What's going on? Yeah, dude, I've been working like a dog this past like month. Haven't had really much time for anything, but yeah, man, just grinding.
Yeah, man.
Finally got half day here, and I looked at the time. I was leaving to work. It was like 11:30. I was like, this is perfect. I have plenty of time to get home and go get situated and get on the stream.
Yeah, dude, that's good. And you made it home in the Californian traffic, so that's always tough to net. And thank you, Megan, for the super chat. All right, yo. So let's get into this games. Like I saw you said you like the Cardinals plus 3.5. I'm gonna just say my thing, and I'll let you go. I am worried about my Vikings this week. Everyone wanted me to say money for the Vikings, and I couldn't go there. Like, listen, I'll just say one reason to be optimistic for the Vikings. I like that they had the bye week and O'Connell gets a week to prepare, but I am really nervous about this Cardinals blitz coming at Kirk. So I actually think if it's 3.5, give me Cardinals at this point, but I'll let you talk.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't think D-Hop would make that much of an impact last week, and he kind of did. But I did notice that he's their biggest receiver, the tallest dude, the biggest dude. He can run, he can catch, and he's really good at blocking. So their run game actually gets better with him being available on the field, you know. And so I think their running game is going to get better against the Vikings too. And on top of that, we know that the Cardinals are a second half team, right? Sometimes they start off slow, sometimes they just stay toe to toe. But the Vikings have let a couple people come back on them. One being the Bears of all people. And I'm sure you remember that game. That pick six or the interception at the end is the only reason why they probably stay winning that game or even let alone cover. And I was on the Vikings that game too. So that's why I think just all those things put together, D-Hop getting back there, he actually has a game under his belt after that suspension. He could do some damage, and I think the run game is going to be top notch against the Vikings, man. I don't know if the Vikings will be able to slow them down. That's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, and we have to remember because even I was saying that, and I'm a Vikings fan, like Bears probably would have won that game without that crazy strip. And we have to remember the Vikings secondary is really, really bad. Like I'm not even exaggerating. It is really, really bad. I think they have the lowest rated slot cornerback in the league. And you saw how the Cardinals were putting D-Hop in the slot. Like that was the easiest player prop of the century. Like I want to actually ask you about another game, but if you got anything else to say about the Cards,
no, that's my best bet. I'm probably going to sprinkle a little bit on the money line too. And I like him a lot this week, especially it hasn't moved. It's been at 3.5. I think I still have it at 3.5 on my book. So I'm moving on that for sure.
Yeah. And so I don't know if you mentioned this game. I just kind of want your opinion from it since I've been talking to you a while and respect your opinion. Last week, you were yelling to anyone that would listen on Patreon to go over in the Texans Raiders, which obviously was a good read. I liked it as well, but you were like in there. you were like in your trench. What do you think about the Raiders at the Saints? Are you worried about it at all, or do you think Raiders like come in and play good? And what do you think about the over/under, or you're staying away from it? Because we've gotten a lot of questions about that Raiders Saints over/under today. Kind of surprised about it.
I lean over on that. The reason why a lot of Raiders games go over is because they're either catching up or they let people catch up. They keep other teams in games. So even if they have a big lead, like the Houston was starting to score at the end there, you know. And then obviously the way it ended, it just helped out the cause too. So I do lean over. It's just really hard to trust the red rifle, you know, to get those points. And I think I just got a notification on my ESPN after that now Michael Thomas is supposed to be a game time decision, and I think that's a huge hit too. So yeah, I lean over, but I like the Raiders. I think they got they have some more mojo, some more swagger coming into these games now that they have a couple wins under their belt and they're feeling some confidence. And I think every game from here on out is a big game, almost like a must win, if you will, because I mean they started out so bad, so they have to get these games, and they have a really, really, really good roster. They have a good depth chart and everything, so like they should be a good team. The record doesn't show, but they're a good team. You know?
Yeah, I agree. So, what other game do you like this week?
Thank you to say because I'm a Cowboys fan, but I think the Commanders can win outright. I don't have the balls to take them on the money line, but I think that spread with Taylor Heineke just brings in some swagger to the team. Like there's a total vibe change. You can just tell the way they're playing and everything. So I think he's going to lead them down the path. And I think who is it, Ellinger or something starting for the Colts?
And
I don't know
like,
too much
we're
about that
starting
guy.
to hear like hype about Ellinger, that he's like really mobile, and I'm not buying into that. Like I've liked the Commanders +3 all this week, and it's hard to pull the trigger on him. Like Heineke played one of the worst first halves of football against the Packers, and then he comes out and drops dimes in the second half. Like, and you're right, he brings a vibe to the team. Like it's hard to explain.
And it's hard for people to understand that they just get so lost in the fact that their record is bad and they have trouble winning, but they actually have a pretty good defense. I think they have a really good run defense. So, and I mean, yeah, JT's on the other side, but I think if they lock him up, they don't have anywhere else to go. The Colts, you know. So I like this team.
Throw it so much, and they're out. And like one thing about Washington, man, like, without Chase Young, they don't got any like great speed rushers, but they can bull rush you and they will get home if you can't block. And they leave 7 guys in coverage every play. They won't send blitzes at you. That's going to be hard for a young quarterback. I like the no names as well. Like I'm not leaning off of that.
Yeah. There was an over I wanted to bet, and I gotta check what the lines. It was at 51, the Miami game. I really want to. Everything in my body's telling me to bet the over on that game, but I have not convinced myself to do it just yet. And I think I might be. What is this? Yeah, it's at 51.5 right now.
I'm a little bit nervous about that as well, because the Lions over, like we've been yelling about that all year. It is alive like the Chiefs over. And like I'm a little bit nervous about that, but I don't know if I should be. Like the Lions have been making some of the dumbest mistakes on offense. Like they're actually moving the ball. Like I know,
dude, not even the offense. Jared Goff.
And did you against the Cowboys? They're at the 1 yard line and they can't even hand the fucking ball off. Like and the Cowboys defense is best in the league. At this point, they probably are. You're a fan, so maybe you think different, but they're best in the league at this point. And Lions were actually able to move the ball with your Cowboys knocking St. Brown out like the second series or whatever it was. That should go over. And I'll tell you why I think it's going to go over. This Miami defensive line, even though I like them, I've been a little bit underwhelmed. And plus, they're kind of small. I feel like the Lions are going to run the ball. But is Swift ever going to play? That's my question.
Who knows, man? Yeah, that Cowboys game, they should have been a lot closer, maybe even a Lions win without those stupid mistakes. And you know what, I was surprised? Because another thing I was saying in the chat and on Patreon was be careful with the Lions game because last year the teams off a bye weren't that great. You know, but they did look good. They were driving down the Cowboys, and what impressed me the most was their defense. The Cowboys could have and should have had way more points in that game, but they only held them to 24, and all those points were in the second half. You know what I mean? So I think another thing that scares me about the over in the Miami game is what if their defense is still there to play, and all we have to worry about is the Lions' offense. You know?
Yeah,
that's how I look at that game.
Yeah, and so what's the last game you're targeting this week?
I'm probably gonna take the Patriots. I just think it's a Patriot spot. There was no really science behind that one. There's I think someone popped the stat in the 12-0 against the Jets or something. That's nice to know, but I just think that where is it at actually? Is it in New England?
It's at the Meadowlands.
Yeah, I still like the Patriots. I think a bounce back. I think the Patriots are pretty embarrassed about what happened last week, and if the hoodie can not play this whole 2-quarterback system that he never usually plays, I think they can find their way to a 3-point win.
Yeah, I haven't even seen any news on that. Like, I just want him to just pick one and go with it. I'm not expecting good quarterback play. Like, people are trying to straw man me about that game and say, Lawson, like the quarterback situation, bro. Like, I don't even need them to play good. I just need them to hand the ball off and then maybe make a play action throw or two, and then let this Pats defense beat up on Zach Wilson. Because listen, I watched some of these games, so some of you guys don't have to. Zach Wilson is really, really bad. And there's a lot going on in the NFL, so that's kind of been scraped under the dirt, but he is really, really bad, man.
Yeah, I think Mac Jones should get the start, because when you're messing around with both quarterbacks like that, it fucks with their psyche. You know, there's the psychology of it. You could see it on the sidelines from Mac Jones, and I felt bad for the kid. He only got 2 series.
Dude, I felt like I was the only one in the world who felt bad for Mac Jones. And then they come and Bailey Zappi makes an easy, they rub man-to-man coverage with like running back running a wheel route.
Yeah.
A linebacker gets rubbed off and Bailey Zappi competes and the crowd acts like his damn fucking Brett Favre. That really bothered me. And that's really, really Steve Spurrier type, college type junk that I wouldn't expect out of the hoodie, man.
Yeah, it was weird. I think he's starting to feel or let the heat from all these analysts and sports talk and fans get to him, because that's all he heard about is controversy. And then he sees Mac Jones have like 2 bad series. Was it a bad series or was it the defense stepping up from the Bears? Who knows? So he pulls them, you know, and then Zappi gets lucky on that play. If Mac Jones is in during that play, the same result happens. It was just a blown coverage, you know? So yeah, that was, I think he should just stick with Mac Jones and let the kid get his confidence back. And I think he's a better quarterback for the spot.
And I believe Jets play the Bills next week. I think this goes off the rail tracks for the Jets, like just for Trey, who was asking about that. I saw him ask about it earlier. I actually think the Giants, they're going to keep grinding out games. I don't think they're going to go like get to 12 or 13 or anything wild like that. I think the Giants keep grinding these out, but I do think this Jets train gets off the track. I would bet.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know. I think the Giants train gets off the track too. I haven't been a fan of them. I just don't see. I don't understand how they're pulling these games out. But I mean, you look at who they've played. The teams that really haven't been that good.
No. They haven't played a lot of good teams, and they got beat up by your Cowboys. Like, I know the Cowboys didn't beat them by 20, but it felt like it. Like, it felt like it. Like, yeah, man. And go on.
No, I was just going to start touching on the Cowboys because I'm still not a believer in Kellen Moore, man. Like, I think I said it a couple of times on Patreon. The play calling is different with Dak versus Cooper Rush. And you saw it. The first play of the game with Dak, he tries to throw it. Why would you do that? You have a 2-headed back. Dak just got off of thumb surgery. Pound the rock to set up your open passes, and he doesn't do that. And that's going to be the reason why they end up losing games, because Kellen Moore, he just wants to sling it with Dak. Just run the ball and open up your passing game.
I agree, and I like listen. I'm not saying Dak was terrible, but he threw some balls up there. Better secondary might have picked, and that is my main problem. Like, I just hope we see some evolution for him and understand, like, bro, this isn't your show. This is the defense's show, and you just run it. We're seeing a renaissance, like back to like late '80s football here, like with some of like I think that the average over under for each game is like 42 and a half. Like, he's got to understand that and understand his defense can win games alone. And these running backs are rolling, man. Like, no one wants to give Zeke credit, but I actually see like him being adding more spring, and then Pollard coming in, man, to get carries after him is fire.
Yeah, well, think about it. Ever since Dak got in the league, the reason why he was performing so well is because Zeke was having career years when they first both entered the league. So that opened up the passing game. And then you take Zeke out of it, Zeke gets hurt those few years, and the passing game has struggled a little bit. So it's just like you need the running game. And like Kellen Moore just wants to be flashy with it and get CD Lamb the ball, which I'm a fan of, but you have to set those plays up. I mean, this is not the Buffalo Bills. You can't just sling it every single play.
Yeah, and they don't got the other receivers to sling it, and this should be a spot for them to cover. But I picked the Bears because of that, because they're going to throw 3 or 4 possessions out of there because of bullshit like that. Them trying to work it down the field when they don't need to.
Yeah, I did move on the under of that game. I think 42.5 it was. I did move on that under.
Good for talking about it, because some people did have a question about it if you saw earlier. So like,
yeah,
good thing
over on the Cowboys game is a no-go until further notice, until the play calling gets right.
Yeah, or until this defense slows down. Like, here's one thing that's surprising me about the Cowboys. Like, their interior defensive linemen are winning battles. Like, I don't even want to talk about like the edge guys. Like, their interior guys,
even the second string guys are like killing it in the inside. It's amazing. It's good to see.
Yeah, no, and that's like the thing that is surprising to me, like, because Lions got a very good interior of their line. It's just if we judge off that game, and dude, they were penetrating, holding their own. Lions ran it a little bit, but it's more when they were going to the outside. Like, those guys are amazing, man.
I think you can expect a letdown from the Bears side just because that was such a huge win last week too. So people that want to back the Cowboys, this might be a good time to do a double digit.
And then they get rid of Robert Quinn, which, like, that's a really young.
To the Eagles, right? Doesn't he go to the Eagles? He's on the Eagles now, which just stacks them up even more.
Yeah, like, whew. Yeah. Any other games you want to mention?
No, that's pretty much. I think I'm gonna stick with those. I've been reducing some action. Before I did like low like unit size per se, wager size, and high volume, but I'm starting to do 4 picks tops and sticking with those. I was on the Ravens last night actually, and I was so nervous. I was looking at the injury report, just saw how Tom Brady was playing before the Bucks rather were playing against the Panthers. I was like, this is a hammer spot for the Ravens. So I pumped them at +1. I was like, it's gonna go to -1 Ravens in the morning. Woke up, checked, it was like +2. My heart sank. I was like, oh my God, I already pumped this. Like, this is a lot for me. And I was just nervous all day, and then it just ended up working out. So I was just happy about that.
Thursday night games will make you nervous, man. There's nothing more nervous to bet. That's why I'm just betting props. Like, man. But I think it's better you're just going the other way. Because listen, like 5-6 bets is better than like 16 small ones. But that's my opinion,
No, I've learned that too, because like it's usually when you hit your main bets, usually it's all the other shit that you try to add on to tack on that you end up losing. So I've just been sticking with the main ones and pumping those up a little bit more.
Yeah, dude, and like that's what I feel like really helps. Like, because like when you were amplifying that over in Raiders Texans, I liked it last week, but like you amplifying it, like it makes a difference, because I want people going strong on 5-6 games a week, 4, 5, 6 games, and then that's how you get the money, man.
Yeah, that's how I kind of feel about the Cardinals this week, honestly. So I'm gonna be pumping that one. In the spread, I'll sprinkle a little bit on the money line just for shits and giggles. So
And plus, I'm good you mentioned that because, listen, I don't want anything to do with that game because that's the Minnesota Vikings. But I'm really kind of thinking the Cardinals are getting better. Not saying they're a great team, but Vikings aren't a great team by any means. So,
Right. I think they're pretty fraudulent. They're one of the fraudulent teams in the NFL.
oh, they're not a good 5-win team. I don't know if they're much better than the Giants. They got better skill positions and better big names than the Giants, but I think they're only a little bit better than the Giants, just to give an example.
Yeah, I think the Giants are going to end up losing this week. That's another game I was looking at.
Yeah,
I've been so wrong about them, though. I don't want to go up against it, so I can bet at some point.
Well, that's what I did last week. I think honestly, the Jags got maybe more talent than the Giants, and I just picked the Giants because I'm sick of being wrong about them.
Yeah, that's going to be a stay off game for me. But I think I do lean heavily that the Seahawks will win and cover. That's another team that has a lot of swagger coming into each and every week. They're just Geno Smith is feeling it. The whole team's feeling it. So. Yeah, I think
I'm liking how they're running the ball. And it's hard to send blitzes against a 3 tight end set. Not much you can do with it. And the Giants, they're good at stopping the run, but that's what the game comes down to. Are they going to stop Seahawks run game? Because their play action game is awesome. But bro, I'll let you go. I always like when you come on, man. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, man. I'll be on soon again.
All right, have a good one, man. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, man. Always good to talk to him, man. Guy's really good with the over-unders. Always good to talk to him. All right, so we're at the hour 50 mark. Did I miss any questions on Patreon? And if I missed your question on YouTube, write it again. I'll answer it before I get off. And thank you guys for joining me tonight, man. It's been a good night. I think I got all the questions on Patreon. See if I got. Let's read Thomas Maggio's my 4 best. Bills, Dallas, Detroit +3.5, and Minnesota -4. I know everybody on Arizona. I like Seattle too. Giants are going down. Yeah. One reason why I wouldn't bet the Cardinals is just one thing that the Vikings always have working in their advantage is that stadium really helps them. It's really hard to make audibles when you're on offense. Gets really loud there. I would actually say it's top 5 home field advantage. Yeah, Mike, I love the Panthers Falcons under. I absolutely love it. Because this Panthers defense, we got to give them credit. They have been great the whole year. They stopped the run, they stopped the pass. And Falcons, we know they're going to have a few good drives where they run it 80% of the time. That's going to kill clock. And we know the Panthers, we know the Panthers quarterback situation is absolute garbage. And Mike, I did see an advanced statistic this week. Sometimes they're not worth anything. So the top 2 teams in terms of wide receivers getting the least separation were the Packers and the Panthers. And I can't say I'm surprised about it, even though you got DJ Moore. John Jones, what time are the picks going on Patreon? 9 o'clock Eastern. They'll be up by 9 o'clock Eastern, maybe earlier. I got to just go through these injury reports. I don't want us to get caught with our pants down. And John, I do believe we will have an over-under this week for the first time of the year. And I will be posting some prop bets on Saturday. We're going to ride that wave. We're 4-1 in our last 5. I will be posting 3 for every Thursday night and Monday night game. We're going to ride that, and we're going to take advantage of it because we know a lot of football players. And, yes, we hit the D-Hop. We hit the Taysom Hill player props. But there's minor players that we can really take advantage of that the books don't have good knowledge of. And that's what we get for following every single game, putting our head down and following everything. That's what we get, and we can take advantage of some niche player props. Forget football. I want to hear about you living in Brazil. All right, Shane, I'll go into it. So I've lived here about a year. I used to visit Brazil maybe like once a year. So I visited Brazil 3 or 4 times. And I've always liked it. Right now, one Brazilian dollar or whatever currency it's called, the real, one Brazilian dollar is equal to $5.35. It fluctuates a little bit, but it normally stays in that 1 to 5 range, if you understand what I'm saying. So cost of living is a lot better for me. Of course, with the situation in the world right now, cost of living has risen everywhere. And in Brazil, the property is less. And that was one of the big stressors for me living in the United States, because I worked in Florida, close to Miami. I've always wanted to live in the South. I lived in upstate New York my whole life, and that's good, but I had more job opportunities in the South. But as you know, living in Florida is very, very expensive. So that's a big part of my reason. Like, I just want to buy a house, live near a beach, and live comfortable. So that's a big part of it. There was a lot of rigor more because I got married, but that wasn't enough to just get the card. I had to go through a lot of stuff, get a lot of documents. Yeah, dude, Florida's awesome. And Florida's got awesome people. A lot of you guys are either from Florida, California, got some from Texas, got some from New York. I think those are the 4 biggest states. And there's a reason why people like living in those states. Unfortunately, those states are very, very expensive. So I always wanted to just own a house and have land. Right now, like, I live in a huge city, and I live in an apartment, very nice apartment, very safe area. So I live in like the A+ area of this city, and I only pay like $800, $750 a month for rent. So you can imagine what this would be in the United States. I can walk to the beach in 2 minutes. This would be what, 10,000, 15,000 in Miami, just to give an example. Yeah. Dude. Yeah, Mike, I'm going to be in Florida. I'm gonna be in Florida because my wife wants to visit. So that's something she wants to see. She wants to see Florida. So yeah, that's a big part of my life here. And yeah, man, it's good. And I have plenty of time to do the stuff I want to do. I want to watch NFL. I want to make bets, want to make money. Yeah, I haven't seen Lauren. I want to check to see where she's at. Let's see if this might be the first live call-in show she's missed. That might be the first live call-in show. I know she's been busy, like, because the time doesn't work right for her. Let's call her. Let's see if she comes on. But yeah, so yeah, if you have any specific questions, I'll feel free to answer. Iowa, yeah, man, Iowa. I've met 3 people from Iowa, really, really good people. Really, really like calm people. I've always liked people from Iowa. Yeah, Mike, come on, man. We'll get you on, man. I thought you were unavailable. Here we go, Michael. Here we go. I'm gonna just use the same email I did last time that I sent on the 21st. So it should show up. Jared, I will. And I really like where you live in Florida. It's very, very underrated place to live in Florida. And from my understanding, you own your house already. So you're in very, very good position, man. That's once you own your house there, you're gonna live good. That's just the battle in Florida, and that's one of like the thing Florida has to address. They let people from out of state, buy up the property, and then local people in Florida, it's hard for them to afford the property or even get anything. Yes, Slurry Plumper. Is East Coast Brazil an hour ahead of New York? Yes, it is. We're an hour ahead. So it helps. And there's a time of the year where we're 2 hours ahead. I don't like that too much. And then there's like a month in a year where we're the same time. But for 9 months of the year, we're like an hour ahead. Terry Walker, do you like over in Detroit game? Yes, I do. It's not a money pick, Terry, but I do like it to go over. It's just about the Lions offense not turning the ball over and making stupid mistakes at this point. That's what it's about for me. Kyle says, do you plan on living in Brazil the rest of your life? Pretty sure about it, because I've been looking for like a small city to buy, because now I live in a big city called Fortaleza. I'm looking to move to a smaller city, 50,000, 30,000 people. I want to like just have, like grow oranges and stuff. And I want to have like a field where I have room and trees and nature, because that's how I grew up. So I'm pretty sure I will. And I'm thinking about opening up a business to do here so I can just keep doing my YouTube, keep doing my Patreon, and then do the betting and then have time for my stuff. So thinking about a business, if anyone has any business ideas, always hit me up, because a lot of you guys have businesses. So it's a very hard thing to do. I give you guys credit. Jay Boggin, is it time to get off the bad news Bears? Yeah, it was fun while it lasted, but I wouldn't bet them this week. Like, Jay, I still think they cover against the Cowboys, but I would not bet it. I think there's way better over under games to bet this week. Over under video is up, and I'm liking some of those money picks even more today than I did when I made it. So go check out that video. Jerry Jones. Oh, I love the name, man. I love the name. Corey Davis is out versus New England. I think that's going to make a difference. Garrett Wilson is pretty good, but and what's going on with Elijah Moore? Did you guys see that big fight between him and like the Jets front office? Yeah, Kyle, let's go, man. Let's go. And like this is a good country to visit, man. Very good country to visit. And it'll save you guys money. Chill, Will. When is the podcast coming? What do you mean? What do you mean, Chill? I did all the videos for the week. I do the Vegas spread picks Tuesday. I do the upsets to bet Wednesday. I do the over-unders Wednesday night, and then Thursday do the teasers. So this is the last video of the week. But tomorrow I will be uploading San Fran at LA Rams game preview. I'll put some props in it too. What's up, Mike? How you doing, man?
Hey, Lawson, doing good. Can you hear me?
Dude, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. The lighting is good this time, so that always helps.
Thanks. Yeah, I do what I can. My room is like the most basic room you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, it looks like a dorm.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, so like let's just talk about Panthers Falcons. Like I was surprised we actually got questions about this game. I thought people would just kind of ignore it, but we've gotten a lot of questions about it, so we might as well finish the show talking about it. Let's just start with the spread. Falcons -4.5. What do you think?
You know what? Like I don't think you can really bet the spread on this game, because at the end of the day, this game is going to come down to how well or poorly PJ Walker plays. Like that's what it is to me, in my opinion. And I don't know if you were aware of this, But talk about how much difference a week makes, man. If the Panthers win this game, they will be first place in the NFC South at 3-5. So
Which
you
would be
love to see it.
insane. I don't think we're
I
ready
just,
for that.
I want it to happen just for the memes and chaos it would create, especially of how much the Bucks suck right now. Like a week ago, we were talking about this team as like, a sure thing, number 1 overall pick team. And now we're sitting here on Friday talking about how this team could possibly win the division.
Let me answer this. Is the media portrayal of Brazil at all accurate? Corruption, socialism killed the economy. It did. It set Brazil back quite a bit. And it's like ironic. We have more social programs now than during that previous government, but corruption's a huge issue here. It's a huge issue. It's one of the big problems here. But yeah, man. And so let's talk about, I actually agree with you, but man, what are the Panthers doing if they win this game? Like they really need to tank if any team needed to tank.
Yeah, it's probably best for the organization overall, but it just seems like the NFC South is wide open this year. Like I don't think they're tanking at this point. Like based on based on how they looked last week and how they performed. I mean, they had every excuse in the world to just come out and play dead last week, and they didn't. They actually showed up and put on a pretty good performance against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, dude, do you want to tank or win from the sticks?
I want to win just because I think it'd be hilarious if we won the division again with a losing record. So I'm rooting for wins right now. I don't like to tank, man. That's just not how I roll. I can't go 10 weeks of rooting for my team to lose. Like, even though it's probably best for the future to try to get CJ Stroud, like that's just not how I operate. I don't like to roll for losing mentality.
Go on. Yeah, because I've never had a favorite team tank. And I used to say tanking was impossible in the NFL. And if we learned anything from the Brian Flores, Stephen Ross battle or the alleged bribery, Jesus, then it's very hard to tank in the NFL because it's a physical game. You can't really lay down like in the NBA,
People have too much pride.
Yeah. And that's good. And that's why this game is the number 1 sport in the United States. And nothing's even close, man.
I was getting real worried, though, that the Panthers might actually put in a good effort into tanking when they traded away McCaffrey and Anderson in in a span of 4 days. At that point, I was like, all right, this train's going down.
Yeah, and I actually agree with Ron Will's comment. The most dangerous teams are the ones that have nothing to lose. The records of teams week 14 through 16, bad teams against teams fighting for playoff spot pretty much proves your point. We've seen so many upsets. But man, so what do you think of this over under 41.5?
Oh, I don't bet on my own team. Well, I take that back. I normally bet against my own team, but I love this over-under. For one, you already talked about it. Both teams want to run the ball. And when you have a situation like that, you're going to get a much shorter game than you would typically. You're going to get long drives. The clock isn't going to stop. Both teams are probably going to get 8-9 possessions, and the game's going to end. That fits very well when you have a very good Panthers defense on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it was a money pick, but you're making me want to bet it, and I don't normally bet over under.
No, I would totally throw some at this over under. I really like it. The only real potential that I see this for maybe getting screwed up is if PJ Walker comes out and has a really good game, because we've seen from this Panthers defense, they will fight and compete to the end, and in order to beat them, you have to have a quarterback who can consistently convert 3rd and longs and who can keep them on the field. I don't think Marcus Mariota is that guy.
Well, and that's the thing I want to see out of Arthur Smith this week, because they got to go more play action this week. Look at that game against the Bengals. They were down 21-0, and they actually made it interesting for a little while. But I think they only threw it 13, 14 times.
And that's the second week in a row they've done that.
Has Mariota even thrown it over 17, 18 times this whole year?
Not lately, he hasn't. I don't think there's a team that likes to throw the ball less than Atlanta right now.
And there is something beautiful about it, but it is kind of getting sickening because they didn't really do this like in the 80s or 90s, even when they would run the rock. Like he's going old D, he's going like 1950s on it. And that is one of my worries about this game for the Falcons against the spread, because I think this is a bounce back spot for him. But this Panthers defense is really damn good. Now, It is hard to judge defense by statistics for one main reason, in my opinion. Offensive support. No statistic ever can put that in. And people get tired when you get turnovers. If you turn over the ball on your own 20, your defense comes out there. How can you really blame them? And yards is a statistic that doesn't really matter in the NFL in this day and age. Like this Panthers defense has been top 7 in my opinion. And
I would say higher. I mean, I know the Bucs have had their issues, but I mean, what happened last week is an example of what happens when you give a good defense like actually time off the field. They completely shut down that Bucs offense from start to finish, and they had no chance. Like I was really surprised at how well and how good they looked. Like even though I knew how good they were already, just seeing them actually get that rest and actually have a chance to compete, like really showed me like this defense is legit. And now they're getting healthier. They're getting J.C. Horn back this week, who's going to take Drake London or Kyle Pitts out of the game. C.J. Henderson's come back. He's going to be healthy. I think Matt Ioannidis is going to play. So they're not even at full strength right now, and they're still balling as much as they are.
Yeah, like and that's where I'm at. Like, and I've just been impressed by the way they fought and so I like the under too. And one last thing I want to ask you. What do you think about the Bucs? Do you think they're done, or do you think they're going to respond?
Dude, I mean, they look like they're in preseason form right now. Like, that's how they look. Like, their issues aren't even like you can't point at one thing and be like, if they fix this, they will get better. It's a collection of problems. The play calling's bad. Brady's missing throws. Their chemistry's off. Mike Evans can't catch anymore. Like, they have all these collective issues, and it's just hard to see them all like coming together and fixing it in a short period of time.
Would you take the field, or would you take the Bucs in the NFC South?
Oh Lord, probably the field.
It would be crazy. It would be crazy.
Wait,
and if the Saints win this weekend, it could get interesting. I don't think they do, but it could get interesting.
Oh yeah, Saints are still in this too, but the Saints are just. I mean, I feel bad. I almost feel bad for them because they are just beat up all over the place.
Yeah, and their defense is even when the guys have played, like, okay, their defense was good against you and Baker, but we have to really put that in like a different type of box. But their defense really has been concerning for me these last 3 or 4 weeks.
What happened to that defense, man? Like they were the undisputed, probably top 2, top 3 defense coming into the year, and they have just been atrocious.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So what's the game you like the most this week?
The game I like the most this week, I like the Patriots to beat the Jets. I think that's my go-to. If I'm pulling pure money line, that's the one I'm looking to right now.
Yeah, and like I was really. Did you watch the Monday night game against the Bears?
Yes.
Now, what was your just reaction to that? Just
what?
Like Belichick with the quarterback.
No,
like,
you know what? That was the worst game I've ever seen Belichick coach, I think. In my day and age, it's definitely up there. I can't remember the last time I've had so many questions about what he was doing.
Yeah, man. And we've been kind of, I'm not even anti-Belichick. Like, I think he's a really good coach, but we've been questioning him for 2 or 3 years. And I think this was the precipice of it. Like, that was some of the worst coaching I've seen. And like the way he's messing with Matt Jones' head, I know we went on about it earlier, but that was some college football junk. And I do think they recover this week, but that's the only thing that makes me nervous about that Jets game. Like, I think Jets are falling off.
No, and what does scare me too is that the Jets defense has actually been playing like pretty good football lately too. Like, I think what they give up. They gave up 9 to Denver last week. They gave up 10 to, who was it? I got it right here. They gave up 10 to Green Bay. Like, they've been low-key kind of balling lately, and that's
Yeah.
not what this Patriots offense wants to see.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just putting my faith in Belichick to respond because he tends to do that. Like, typically after he gets whooped, he actually comes out and has an answer for some of these problems.
Yeah, and like that's what I'm looking forward to. And what other games do you like? Are you seeing anything around the league that you like or anything you can exploit?
Okay, so I'm probably gonna get killed for this. But I think Pittsburgh has a shot at upsetting Philadelphia. Like, I know it's not the one everyone's seeing, but I see the formula for how they could pull this off.
Okay, go on.
And so, for one, if you've noticed, the Eagles typically don't play 4 straight. Like, they don't play a complete game. They tend to just have one quarter where they go off. Like, and that's what a lot of good teams do that, but it's not a good habit to develop. And I think Tomlin, with how disciplined he keeps that defense, like, he could actually get them ready to counter that zone read that Jalen Hurts runs that has killed pretty much everyone else they've come across. And you also got the Eagles coming off a bye, and that's always, you never know how a team's going to react coming off a bye week. So I don't think it's going to happen, but I could definitely see it happening. I would keep your eyes out for it.
Yeah, and it sounds like you kind of are doing what I did last week with the Bears. You felt a more competitive performance coming, and like that really is a good analysis of the Eagles, though, because I think the main part of this mixture of what they're doing is that zone read. Like, it is very, very hard to stop.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens were just dousing people for years with it. Like, that, it's a very underrated aspect of football, and that's why I think it's so important to have a mobile quarterback.
And then you add AJ Brown to it with like a good tight end, Devonta Smith. Like, it is hard to cover them. Like, and with that zone read coming, man, and that offensive line, we already know how good it is. And with the Steelers, man, like, they've had really bad luck with injuries this year. And
for sure,
secondary, if everyone's healthy, they can make plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, I don't think it'll happen, but it's not beyond the realm of possibility, in my opinion. I do think in the future, like down the line, looking forward, I know everyone's high on the Giants right now, but whatever that spread is when they go to play Philly, bet against them because I don't think they have a shot in heck at beating Philly.
No, I agree. And I do think the Giants and Jets both fall off. I think the Jets fall harder. And Key's saying he likes Pack. Before you go, do you like, okay, before you go, he's saying he likes Packers plus 11. He thinks it's the lock of the week. It's dangerous, man, because I watched the Packers against the Commanders on Tuesday night. I was shocked by how bad it is.
You know what, too? Like, I mean, if you watch the Packers, the logic behind betting the Packers to cover that is that you think they're going to get good stat padding and guaranteed. But if you watch these games, like, they have trouble even stat padding. I mean, they had to get an Aaron Jones touchdown against the football team in order to keep that game close. And they couldn't even cover against the Jets. They couldn't even make that game close in the fourth quarter. Like, they have, they just cannot throw the ball consistently. And that's not something you want to, when you're having trouble throwing the ball, you don't want to see the Bills. That's the one team you probably really don't want to play. And the game's in Buffalo, right?
Yeah. And one thing that's worrying me, Mike, too, is like, I get the fundamentals of the Packers plus 11. And if you, like said, Lawson, your life's on the line, who would you take? I would probably pick the Packers plus 11. Like, for me, man, I'm worried about the Packers defense because they should be a lot better. And I do think there's some coaching issues with Green Bay. That's one of the issues that no one is talking about. Like, I think they got some serious coaching issues. Like, if you look at their defense, they'll have mental breakdowns, blow coverages at least 2 or 3 times a game. Defensive line's been good, man. Really, really good. Rashawn Gary might not play. I haven't seen the news on that. But yeah, like, and A-Rod, he's been missing some passes. And then everything is like 2-yard passes. It's everything.
maybe Tom Brady takes this title, but is there anyone who looks less happy in the NFL right now than Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, and he has right to, man, because there's good receivers out there that they could trade for.
Yeah, like they could have traded for Robbie Anderson.
Yeah,
that would have been a great trade.
And like they need someone like Robbie Anderson. They need to stretch the field because this Dobbs guy isn't all that fast. Christian Watson might be one of the worst rookie receivers I've ever seen. Like he might be worse than when the Vikings drafted Troy Williamson. I think that was before your time. But like I said, he's one of the worst rookie receivers I've ever seen.
Well,
like,
he just can't catch, right?
Yeah. I get the fundamentals of the Packers, but yeah, the Bills might just blow them the hell out of there. So.
Well, the problem with Christian Watson coming out of the draft was like he had very good measurables, and he had everyone said, oh, he has a lot of potential, but you have to develop it, and so far that talent has not been developed.
Yeah, man.
So,
all right, Mike.
Yeah, I think it was just a bad matchup for the Green Bay overall, from top to bottom on both sides of the ball. So you can bet the +11 if you want. I'm talking to people watching. I know you won't, but you can bet that +11. But I would not sleep cozy on that.
Yeah, I would not. All right, bro. I'll let you go. Thank you for finding time to come on, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I know you've been on for 3 hours now.
Oh yeah, I wanted to get J-Step on for the first half bets because this is one thing I've been thinking about a lot this year. Do you like baseball?
I don't watch baseball, but
okay,
I do I've been fascinated with the first half betting myself. That's something I've looked into.
Yeah, so I've been talking to J-Step for a year about this, and bro, he's been hitting them. He's been hitting them. So I'm gonna get him on, and then I'm gonna go lay down.
I think it's easy, yeah, and I'll get off, but I think that's almost easier to bet than actual full game spreads because you don't have to account for stat padding, and you can actually look to an extent. You can use statistics, and it's a lot easier to bet teams who are bad because if they have a good defense, things like that,
Yeah, I agree. All right, Mike. Have a good weekend, man.
Thank you, boss. You too. See you later.
See you, man. J-Step, what's up, man?
What's up? How we doing?
Yeah, man. A lot of people were thanking you for that Eagles-Cardinals first half a few weeks ago. So I'll send the thanks. Yeah, and I rode with you on that one. So
yeah, that one was a nail biter. I thought at the start of the game, I thought it should be a clear winner, and then I don't know what happened at the end, but that was close to not even covering, but got there. So.
Yeah, So what first half games do you like this week?
I've already took the Bills -6.5. That line's now at -7. I'm thinking about two others. I think you mentioned both of them actually, the Eagles and the Vikings. But the weird thing about that Vikings one, the full game's at -3.5. The first half's at -3. I think the books are catching up to the Cardinals being slow in the first half, which makes
no, they are catching up. Well, we've been monitoring this the whole year. I don't know if we're the only ones doing it. Last week, I did the first quarter Titans bet. That was where I wanted to put my hand. They're even starting to catch up to that this week. But yeah, man, the Vikings one, that's a no-go. I'm cutting that off. But let's talk about the Eagles one. They start fast every game, and I know it's eventually going to slow down. Teams are going to adjust to them, but they start so damn fast every game. They're the safest team to bet in the first half for me.
Yeah, I think they can get out early, run the ball. I mean, Steelers can get ran on, and that's the one thing that Philly loves to do. Get in some play action, throw the ball to A.J. Brown, do whatever, but I think they'll put up points early. And if you're going to tell me you're going to take the Steelers in the full game, wouldn't smug my nose at it, but the first half, I think Philly can get there, no problem.
Yeah, I wouldn't smug my nose at Steelers with a backdoor cover either, because eventually I think Pickett's going to get better, and we've been following the Eagles the whole year. Listen, man, they really lay off in the second half. And so with the Bills, so let's get to that Bills one. With the Bills at -7, would you take that even with the push risk, or would you just rip up the paper and say, all right, bro, I got to get it in earlier next week?
I wouldn't rip up the paper. I'd still take it, but definitely would wish I had the 6.5. I wouldn't be surprised if they're up 14-0. And I know a lot of people are looking at this Green Bay plus 10.5 for the full game. And I can't blame you for taking. I can't touch it. I won't be surprised if it's a blowout. But like, it kind of reminds me of the Titans game. If they shut down the run game against the Packers, who are they throwing it to? Lazard's not going to be there. Staub's going to show up and be a superstar? I don't think so.
Dude, Dobbs is terrible, man, and some of those guys are really terrible. That's why, like, I haven't liked the criticism that Aaron Rodgers has taken, and then plus, like, Bills, they're getting good coaching. Like, even against the Chiefs game, they got really good coaching. I don't think the Packers are getting much coaching. Like, I really wish people wouldn't bet it, but they're gonna go do it. I cannot stop them, and because it's on Sunday night, if this was Sunday at 1, I actually think they would lay off it. I hope.
Yeah.
No, but you know that you know how it goes. They put a game on Thursday night. Probably maybe 10% of the people would bet it if it was Sunday at 1. I know how that psychology goes.
I'm a victim of that myself. There was the Commanders game. I took the Commanders against the Bears. Probably, like you said, I would never have taken that, but I got there. But you're totally right.
Yeah, man. People are and so what's the last game you like in the first half?
The Vikings as well.
Okay, you're rolling with the Vikings still.
Yeah. The other two though I haven't taken, but that's my third one that I'm like still thinking about. Like I said, it's at -3 now, and I'll probably end up taking that, but for a smaller play. But yeah, I like them to come out early.
Yeah, like, and just I'll give everyone a little bit of background because we've been noticing all year. The first one that me and you talked about this year, I believe it was the first one, was us taking the Rams -2.5 against the Cardinals. And we've been noticing the Cardinals starting slow every single week. And I don't think there's been anything to necessarily change our minds. They've pretty much started slow every single week besides against the Saints. And they didn't look all that good against the Saints in the first. Am I wrong about that?
No, not at all.
So, like, the fundamentals are there, and that's the rationale behind it. And as for the Vikings, they've actually come out and started good this game.
Like against the Bears, I'm pretty sure. I think I took the Vikings against the Bears. They looked great, and in that second half, the Bears almost ran away with it.
Yeah, and that has been a problem. Like Vikings against Saints, Vikings came out really strong. I'm not saying the Vikings are like the Titans. You know, when the Titans, they have their script plays, they're very, very good. You know, the Vikings aren't the best with the script plays the first 10, 15 of the game, but they're up there, man. So I think they'll start strong. I think they'll get a touchdown in the first half, get a few field goals. That'll be enough to cover it in the first half.
Definitely. And then just want to say I'm with you on the Pats. I love that play. I'm with you on the over in the Raiders game, or you in the comment section. I took that. And then the Carolina Panthers under, I also like a lot. So those three I'm liking.
Yeah, like I'm with you, and I'm thinking about posting the under on Patreon this week, and I think I have to do it. And I won't give it away on here, but yeah, dude. And like, yeah, man, how's your season been going? Like, so now that I got you on, because I only send you voice messages. Now that I got you on a call, how did your year go with betting baseball? Because you were betting the first 5.5 or 6 innings, correct?
Yeah, the first 5 innings. Yep.
So how did it go overall?
I had a 3-month stretch, which was just money. I mean, you're not going to be right on every one, but it was very profitable. And I just love being able to analyze the starting pitchers, because once you get into those bullpens, God knows what's about to happen, who they're about to bring in, some random, like I've seen games in the ninth inning. The team had a 2-0 lead the whole time. They bring in some bozo in the ninth, loads the bases up, throws a wild pitch, a run comes in, hits a batter, run comes in, tie game, single, game over. Like you were winning the whole time. You knew that your starting pitcher was gonna dish, and he did his job. But some dumbass reliever.
And because that's why I found it very interesting what you did, because that would be the only way I suggest anyone ever bet baseball. Because listen, even if you don't have a job, you're a professional gambler, you will not know everything about every bullpen. You will not. It's impossible.
And you also won't know who they're gonna go to in that bullpen. Like you can know all the guys. You can know like, oh, this dude's a stud, and like these guys kind of suck. But like you don't know who they're gonna go to. Especially in a regular season game, you don't know like what the type of motivations, like 160 games. You don't know what the motivation from every which game. I mean, some games you can tell, but it's tough.
JSAP, before I go, who do you got to win the World Series?
I'm wearing a Phillies hat. If you can't tell,
I can tell people liked it.
Just picked this up today. I put a couple units on Phillies plus 165 to win the series. If they win today, I also bet today it's Verlander versus Nola. They had Wheeler starting for the Phillies, which I liked better, but Nola's still a great guy. Verlander in the World Series, he's pitched, I think, 7 games. He's 0-6. He has like a 5.8 ERA, 1.29 whip. He's given up 9 bombs, and they're plus 155 in the full game. So I took him today in the full game for a decent sized bet. I took him on the series, and I also bet the team total for the Phillies. So today's a big Philly day for me.
Dude, I like fading Verlander because the man is extraordinary, but look at how long that man has pitched, and eventually we're damn near in November, bro. Like it's in.
Yeah, his first outing in the playoffs was pretty bad. He got roughed up by the Mariners. Second round out, he was a little bit better. Doesn't have a great history in the playoffs. I mean, if you're going to give me a plus 150 with this Phillies team that's been hot as ever, I'm going to take it. Like, win or lose, I like the value on that. And if you wanted to go first 5, it's plus 130. I like that too, but I wanted the better price at plus 150, so I went the full game. But if you want to go first 5, even plus a half, I'm not sure what the price at that is, but if you're taking plus a half, it's 0-0 at the end of the 5 innings. You still win your bet. So I do like that. I definitely like the Phillies today, and I like them to win the series. I mean, the Astros are probably a better team, but I think the way the Phillies have been playing, I think they can get it done. I think it's worth the price.
Got you. All right, I'll let you go. Get ready for that game, JSAP. Thank you for coming on, my man.
All right, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll get you on again with the first halves because we're rolling with it, man.
Yeah, I definitely will. I usually work around this time, so it's hard for me to get on, but I was able to today, so I wanted to get on.
Yeah. All right, man. Have a good one.
Later.
All right. Hit the like button, share the videos. What's up, Shane? What's up, Trey? What's up, Randy Harris? Yeah, hindsight, man, but I had the Bears the whole week. I only rubbed that in people's face because I got a lot of hate for that. What's up, Brandon? My man, Brandon. What's up, man? Yeah, dude, the Bills got a tragic history in the Super Bowl. Hit the like button, share the videos. I'll be back. I'll be back Tuesday for the Vegas spread picks. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a special video on the Rams 49ers game. I need to go more in depth in that game. Have a good weekend, everyone. Hope you guys do well, man.